My job here at Metro Community College is to take a student driver who's never driven a large truck like the one you see behind me and bring them to an entry level so that they can begin a career in the transportation industry. Right now the transportation industry is one of the most in-demand jobs in the country, and so we're able to take a student from being able to drive a car to driving a semi-truck and then go straight into a career immediately after they finish our 8-week program that offers them a stable income and benefits so that they can start a career that would be meaningful for them and also helpful for their family. I started work at Metro in August of 2011. Before I started here, I was an over-the-road truck driver for just about 10 years. Originally, I was in the Navy. I joined the Navy in 1978 when I was 17 years old. I spent 20 years in the Navy as a cryptologist. Not anything that you would find similar to truck driving, but I enjoyed that for 20 years. I rode on fast attack submarines, aircraft carriers, cruisers, destroyers. I was stationed all over the world, and that may be one of the things that led me to truck driving, because I got into that loving to travel and loving to see different things. When I retired from the Navy, I took the typical path of becoming a defense contractor. I worked for a large defense contractor in the Washington, D.C. area, but it still wasn't satisfying to me. So I went to truck driving school. My father had gone to truck driving school after he retired from Boeing, and he enjoyed it. So I kind of followed in my father's footsteps for a second career and went to truck driving school in Salt Lake City, Utah. Started truck driving for a large carrier out of Phoenix, Arizona. And in January of 2011, I was stranded in an ice storm in Pueblo, Colorado, parked there waiting for the storm to break. And my best friend called me on the phone and told me that she had found a truck driving teaching career opportunity at Metro Community College and that I should apply. This was on January 19th that she called me, and that also happened to be the closing date for applications. So I sat in an ice storm in Pueblo, Colorado and filled out my application for the Metro CDL program. I didn't hear anything back until it was on my birthday. I was driving through Cheyenne, Wyoming, and the Dean of Applied Technology at that time, Bill Owen, called me on my birthday and asked me to come for an interview. I came for the interview that week, had a second interview a week and a half later, and then on the 5th of July, Bill Owen called me and offered me the job, and I couldn't turn it down. You know, I guess I had a mentor that when I was at the National Security Agency going through a cryptologic training program that involved leadership and learning to be an instructor. And during that time, she encouraged me to take classes and then also to become an adjunct faculty member at the National Security Agency, where I was an adjunct for teaching C++ programming. And so she taught me the value of really focusing on learning my craft enough to where I could turn around and then teach that to other people. You know, and I brought that with me here to Metro, you know, learning how to be an adjunct and then carrying that on to being a full-time faculty member. Well, I think one of the things that I bring to the classroom that I've had students mention to me that means a lot to them is, having worked throughout my life in a very diverse career field and many different careers, I've come across many people from different walks of life. And I treat all of my students the same, and they always comment on that I really take an active interest in their lives no matter where they've come from. We've had retired B-52 pilots in our class, and we've had ex-convicts in our class. You know, people from walks of life that are that you wouldn't even realize were in the truck driving field. And what I like to do with all of them is treat them as though we were all in one brotherhood, and not as if some of us are more blessed, I guess you'd say, than others. So I really take an active role in making sure that my students have all of their needs taken care of so that they can focus on learning to be a truck driver and all of the information that we have to pass on to them, whether it's trying to help them with financial aid or trying to help them with buying books or anything like that, or trying to help them find jobs if they're from a background that maybe is not as conducive to finding a job as easily as other people. So I think what I'd like students to remember about me when they look back on what they learned from me was not necessarily only the truck driving aspect, but the aspect that within truck driving we all need to kind of take care of our own. You know, I had the Road Not Taken, the poem by Robert Frost, printed on the back of my Navy retirement pamphlet. And I know over the years it's changed meaning for me. You know, initially I thought that the road diverged in the wood, and I took the road less taken. You know, initially when I came across that, I considered that to be, you know, I'm the better for having taken the road less taken. And you know, over the course of time, I've taken a couple of English classes and analyzed that poem, and it still has a lot of meaning for me, the road less taken, especially when it comes to the truck driving, because a lot of my students have come from a background where maybe this is not the path they had chosen for their lives, but in the end, when they look back on their life, maybe they'll see that they took a road that maybe a lot of other people didn't take, but it's made a difference in their lives. I know that the poem isn't necessarily always interpreted to mean that it may be the other way around, that you end up at the end of your life and think, maybe I shouldn't have taken that path. But I like to be a little more optimistic and think that the path that I took maybe was the path that I was intended to take to begin with. And so for my students and for myself, you know, all of the different paths that I've taken to get to where I am now have all built me to be who I am so that I can pass that on to them and maybe other generations of truck drivers in the future. One of the other things I really like to tell people about being a truck driver is they have an opportunity to see more of the country than many other people will ever see in their lives. During my short 10 years as a truck driver, I was in all 48 states, either picking up a load or delivering a load. And one of the benefits to that is getting to see the beauty that every single state has to offer, you know, in the United States. And so that's an opportunity that a lot of the community that Metro serves may never have to see those kinds of things, but they can come here and get that career training and then go out there and see that, and then hopefully that'll have an impact on even their family's future, all of the things that they get to see. Well, the highest moments for me come in my teaching with the CDL students is not until after the class is over with, because then I hear back from students that have graduated that they've got jobs and then have gone on to get careers. I think the highest moment I've had so far at Metro was having a student return to announce that he had been selected as the Creek Carrier Rookie of the Year for the entire nation. So for me, that validated what our program does and how successful it is when we can see a student come back and is interested enough in their success to come back and thank us for getting them into that position. So that was, so far, that's probably been the highest point in my career here at Metro. I'm Darryl, partner. I teach in the commercial truck driving CDL license program here at the Applied Technology Center.